ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue on this journey around law and policy, and we will link what we've heard so far to the issue of policy building through semantics, interoperability, simulations. To take us through that particular presentation, I'm happy to welcome Sabrina Medeiros, who's assistant professor at the Lusófona University in Lisbon, and she's also a researcher at the Interagency Institute. Sabrina, good afternoon. We cannot hear you, Sabrina. I'm afraid you're on mute. Yes, now we can.
Thank you.
Yes. So go ahead.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here with you. My work began while I was in Brazil as associate professor at the Brazilian Naval War College, right now as a Portuguese national, also collaborating with the Portuguese National Defense Institute, as well as a professor at Lusófona University and researcher at the Interagency Institute. My work is trying to put policy building before the semantics interoperability construction. So training as a core conditioner of the policy implementation, avoiding then its understanding only as an efficiency parameter. So I'll try to show you a little bit more about the method and software we've been using to training practitioners, especially on defense and security, and how these may create some efficiency parameters to the semantic interoperability scene. So the purpose of this research is to show how practitioners and actors' interaction may add to semantics and interoperability. So normally training is used as testing interoperability. So after web semantics or system is qualified, then actors and human may be interacting to see how semantics interoperability functions. But my proposal is to do the opposite. So in order to create humanized or considered by the human variable variations in terms of how people may think, create a space of interaction before we can create the parameters, so before we can protocolize. Considering that there are those 4 layers of the interoperability process, which are the legal, the organizational, the semantic, and the technical, I work within the legal and organizational process in order to see how those frameworks can be added to the systems, and so to the technical instruments and elements of the semantics interoperability processes. So the main conceptual premise is based on the belief that policy building and policy effectiveness is dependent on the various forms of training and interacting, and not the opposite. So training and interaction may be the political assets, and to permit not only the policy incremental enhancement, but policy compliance. So my premise works on the sense of that policy building and incrementally building policy is a way to uphold semantics interoperability efficiency in the technical layer, or the technical lane, I would say. But also we could consider at the other side that interoperability may guarantee its continuity through 5 key areas, which are the governance, standard operation procedures, technology, voice and data, training, and exercise. So training and interaction may be those political assets, because training is a necessity, really a demand in terms of governance compliance. So before we can have the semantics interoperability, if we can guarantee the governance compliance with training and exercise, not only we can comply with it, but also we can increment. We can guarantee that policy is live, and we can also promote a better semantics capture process.
Sabrina,
So is strategic. Yes.
Sabrina, do you hear me? Yes. I understand you're supposed to share slides with us, but we don't see them. Are you actually running a series of slides? Okay, because we do not see them. So maybe your screen isn't shared with us, or?
Yeah, so let's try it again. It seems that it is. I'm sorry about that, but it's not.
No, now we
I
see them,
just broke
yes.
and did it
Oh,
again.
hold on a
I'm
second.
sorry.
No, that's
No, it's
okay.
not.
I mean, your presentation's been very clear so far, and you know, specific points and everything, so that's fine. If you can put it in full screen mode, and then we're fine.
Okay, it's not working like this. Maybe it was like this. Let's try it again. So full screen.
Yes,
Yeah,
perfect. Thank you very
because
much. So can you move ahead to where you were?
sure. Let's try that. So
Thank you.
what I mean is that strategic level policies may connect to those micro policies, both through guiding institutions and ways to refill the strategic level with insights from the bottom side. So what I mean by that, normally semantic interoperability process of capturing is not, it's some way static, based on the fact that policy is a static document. So what I mean by that is that semantics interoperability should be considered through a double way view of the process, in which semantics may add to policy building and policy enhancement, as well as policy building may be done by training and by the human aspects of the interaction. So, observing practices from the micro experiences means that how we can advance knowledge in the field in the benefit of the society. So qualifying operators to enhancing, collaborating, building metadata promotes semantic efforts to an upper level of information that can be used by practitioners, politicians, and agents in a favorable way for an incremental policy building. So network and policy transferring and diffusion is dependent on the way information is exchanged. So working with this premise, I would say that we have a group of scholars. We had developed an agent joint assessment planning tool, which is promoted as a software to be the link that can help us coordinate interactions and can be the link between the interoperability and semantic, which is about policy building in the benefit of interagency schemes. So we never can consider semantics interoperability without focusing on the aspects of the interagency schemes that are constant, that are moving away, that are some way changing all the time, as it's dependent on the way semantic frameworks are proposed. So if we propose semantic frameworks which are static, which are not vivid, then we had a lower chance of efficiency in terms of the interagency schemes and policy compliance. So agreeing on the various forms of named tools, concepts, and behavior, creating ways that semantic can develop in an incremental way, so it can adhere positively to complex networks, and this includes complex networks of policy building, which includes different source of actors. It's a multi-stakeholder effort normally. So this is the adjunct. We would like to show you a screen, just a picture of this, and these simulations are normally held with practitioners. So police officers, military officers, civilian connected to defense. We've been doing this within the Latin American countries, the U.S., and also in Europe right now, and it means that key labels, key key labels could be identified through the interaction so we can lead and uphold policy considering the different mindsets and backgrounds from the practitioner's experience. So the best we can identify how semantics is part of the cooperation process, the best we can guarantee that digitalization is also efficient to a multicultural and multi-stakeholder scene. So I thank you, and we're asking and waiting for your questions.
Thank you very much, Sabrina. Thank you. And you were indeed exactly sharp on time, so that's very kind. So Sabrina, I have one question so far, and it is, to what extent can semantic interoperability simulations enhance policy building processes in a multi-stakeholder environment?
So I really believe that the extent it can be done is promoting it regularly, so we can take into account that it can create a common meaning for different types of people in different backgrounds. And regardless of which system they happen to be working in, so we can build, before we can build parameters, normal parameters, we can have this kind of ontological interpretation of the policy building process, so we can understand that this is constantly moving. So my proposal is to have constantly training opportunities from the bottom side of the policy, or where practitioners do effectively can contribute to policy building, and then we can transfer this knowledge to the semantics interoperability processes. So these cannot be based only in the legal frameworks already stated, but how practitioners do embed or do comprehend and interpret those legal frameworks. So my proposal is that we cannot just train and do our efforts on training, considering compliance of the technical parameters already there. But we should consider that society is changing all the time, and if we do not consider this chance of upholding semantics interoperability through the construction of the and changing this process before we can apply it, then we cannot guarantee its full efficiency. So that's my point.
Thank you very much. Can you please extrapolate a little bit on the link between interoperability and semantic?
Yes. Do you want me to give one example, for instance?
That would be good. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so in Portuguese, we would say, normally we have many words to say few things, which is used in English, for instance. So if we can consider security, we can also consider safety in English. But in Portuguese, we only use segurança. So it means it may have a different meaning and a different concept, which is, of course, normally connected to legal frameworks and different legal frameworks. But instead of understanding completely what it means, it is fully dependent on the way it is used. So if we can consider those difficulties through a simulation process where we have this policy connection and various interpretations through teams of interagency cooperation efforts, then we can consider what is determinant for the policy application or compliance, which may mean confusion or create some echoes and further in terms of the technical approach of the theme or of the word, then it would be considered something that would not achieve its full understanding once the technical approach of the semantic interoperability should not be considered without the fact that it's also connected to transparency and how citizens will further receive the effects of the semantics interoperability processes in the technical scene, the web semantics, for instance. So it means that if it is not discussed as a moving factor, as it's political by nature, then it would be fulfilled with problems that at the very end could not achieve its purpose, which is to guarantee citizens' participation, comprehension, and society development.
Thank you very much, Sabrina. Thanks a lot. And have a very nice rest of the day.